This will give the ability for more affiliates to attend the conference. For example, a client going from 200,000 impressions per day down to 4,000 per day, and that happened overnight. You're tired and you can't be as creative as you would like to be. AI tools are great to give you kind of idea generations, but like I said before, not to do the full job for you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of This Ain't the Dating Show XXX, the video podcast for the dating industry by Masters in Cash. And as you can see, we have a brand new equipment here. We are also filming this time different. And this premiere with the good equipment is done with Alex Aristides. I hope I pronounced it Greek and not Spanish. From iCon. So Oz, because he's also a Jiu-Jitsu brother, Oz is the greetings of Jiu-Jitsu people. He's the head of speakers for the iCon and as well the SEO manager, not messenger. Maybe he's also messaging to them what is happening of Nexxie Group. He has a vast insight into the topics that are moving the industry at the moment, and also, of course, about what we can expect from iCon 2. Last year was already fantastic, so looking forward to a second, even improved version. Alex, thank you very much for taking the time.
Absolute pleasure, Stefan. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for providing all the new equipment for the podcast. It's a pleasure to be here, a fellow Jiu-Jitsu, a fellow online marketeer. So it's an absolute pleasure. I'm really looking forward to speaking more about the dating world, SEO and iCon. I'm really looking forward to the questions you've got lined up for me today.
Perfect. So, I mean, I had with you like a pre-call and there we vibed directly super good and I learned a bit more about you, but for the people that have not had the opportunity yet to talk to you, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Of course. My name is Alex Aristides. I'm half English, half Greek national, as we say, Gringlish in our side. I'm currently living in Paphos, Cyprus. I've come back to Cyprus just over 10 years ago. Looking to stay here on a long-term basis. I'm a proud father of 2 daughters and a protective one too when it comes to it. Yeah, all my school years, I was born in England. My parents moved over to Cyprus when I was 5, so I've done all my school years here. Once I completed school, I went back to university in England at Middlesex University. I became an accountant, so I studied BA Accounting and Finance. Worked in London for just under 10 years as an accountant. For a huge company called Soho House, which are private members clubs, restaurants around the world. And yeah, realized after some years that accounting wasn't so much for me. And this is where the transition into online digital marketing came in. And yeah, this is where I am today. I've been at Nexxie Group for nearly 7 years. I started off with a customer support department with them, progressed through the customer support department, and then got asked to lead the SEO department for Nexxie Group, which has been open for just under 4 years now. And yeah, after 4 years of SEO, I can say very comfortable, really pleased with the results that we're having, increasing our clientele on the SEO standpoint. So yeah, in a very good place so far.
Well, I definitely would not like to work in your team because with all this accountant background, you are for sure like very detailed with the KPIs and nobody can fuck around and says like, yeah, come on, there are different statistics or so.
I would say there's a lot of fact checking going on. This is for sure. I think this is the English coming out of me a little bit as well. But yeah, it's sometimes the accounting does brush up into the SEO world for me.
I'm also very sure the iCon invoices are all paid in time, and if not, the reminder comes the moment that the due date is done.
We've got our payments department handling it all, but yeah, as an ex-accountant, I've always kind of got a side eye as to what's going on. But I try and let them do their thing, and I try and focus on the speakers in the SEO role.
So when your first role in this industry was then directly at Nexxie as this customer agent, or you had no experience with it before?
Yeah, so my previous experience would have been around accounting and finance and hospitality. I worked in quite some big hotels in Cyprus too. So Nexxie Group was my first step into the online digital world. I started off as an accounting manager for the customer support team, progressed from there to become a team leader. And then as Nexxie was scaling over the years, they saw the opportunity for SEO. It was a bit of an unknown world for me, if you like. So it was really a big jump to take. But yeah, 3.5 to 4 years down the line, I'm so pleased I did make this change. The SEO world is definitely more engaging in my mind than the accounting world is. And yeah, it's really, really interesting to see how search engine optimization plays out in certain industries. For example, in our case, dating, adult, or gaming, gambling, etc. So it's a really, really interesting topic for me. It's much more engaging than accounting, and you deal with many different elements like the links, the content, the technical. So there's so many elements you have to work on SEO. And for me, it's an encyclopedia. So there's never an end to learning with SEO, with all the updates that come up with new tactics and trends and strategies. So for me, it's an always a learning curve, and I really do enjoy it.
I mean, we will speak a little bit more about SEO later on, also the effects of AI on this and the Armageddon update that everybody was like shit scared, and some people had also the reasons for that. I have one question before. When you start a new SEO project, how much months it takes usually until you see results there?
From an SEO standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's very interesting because it depends if it's coming in from a brand new project which effectively hasn't been built. So we're able to take the project from the foundation. So right from the back end of the technical stuff, ensuring that search engines can understand the language that you're speaking. Because I've seen in the past many websites are built with, for example, affiliation in mind, and Google doesn't exactly understand the way that it's been coded. So you're not effectively able to maximize your results. In other words, it's like a French person trying to speak Italian and vice versa. You need French for French, Italian for Italian.
Or a German pronouncing Greek names.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. To be honest, if it was the other way around, I think it would have the same troubles as well. But yeah, I find that with projects that we start right from the beginning, from the foundations, it's much easier to rank for. So you can start seeing rankings within a couple of months, as quickly as that. We've seen other projects which we really had to work on the back end, or the client didn't want us to work on the back end, and it takes significant more amount of time. So we could even say up to a year or even longer. So it really depends on at which point we take the project and how SEO optimized it is from the beginning, and as well taking into consideration how many changes we need to make to get to the optimum point.
Do you think, because we had this topic with another SEO guy, with Florin from Traffic Manager, but he's like very big in SEO as well, was in this channel as well, that he said people that start new in this industry, no matter the vertical, they are not patient enough anymore to sit and work for a month until they see small gains. So that's why the majority of affiliates that start with media buying, because you can have instant results.
Totally, totally agree with you. The one I said this in one of my previous speeches that I did, that SEO is like an investment, where paid ads is like your rent effectively. So I can go and rent a property tomorrow, pay the rent up front, I'm in there by tomorrow. When I'm having to buy a property, it takes significant amount of time with the extra paperwork, etc. And the same goes for the media buying in the SEO world. With SEO, it is an investment and it's a slow burner, but consistent and long lasting. With ads, I can pay Google today and tomorrow I can start seeing the results. So I totally understand the impatience of marketeers when they have two options. One delivers within a day and the other needs some months to deliver, whilst the client is still investing on a monthly basis without seeing the results that they would hope for. So yes, I would say that I understand the frustration or the impatience, if you like, but I also look at the longer picture when it comes to media buying and SEO. For example, from the minute I stopped paying Google for my ads, I've gone from the results. I'm not there anymore. And in retrospect to that, with SEO, if you've paid an SEO to do your work for an X amount of time and you stop, you're not going to lose your position straight away. It would take a significant amount of time to start dropping in your rankings. So effectively, the tails will continue to monetize for you until, depending on how much work the SEO has done, or until you decide that you don't need an SEO's help any further. Of course, Stefan, you have to take some things into consideration, like the competition levels and other aspects that come into it. But I would say, yeah, in small words, SEO is like an investment and ads is like rent for me. This is the best way I can characterize it.
Can you do SEO when you use Google Translate or DeepL, or is Google too smart to realize, hey, there is something not natural? I'm not even speaking about AI.
Yeah, no, definitely. If we're just talking about Google Translate alone, it depends on the language. If I take an example, the Finnish language, which is or Greek in our case, it's very, very difficult for Google at this moment in time to translate to do a perfect translation for you. So as an example, if it translates for Greek, my perfect English will then become a 7 out of 10 in Greek, which does affect the user engagement and the social signals which Google uses nowadays to give you rankings for. So if the user's not satisfied, they're bouncing, the duration time is very low, they're not flipping through many pages or being engaging on the website, this is what's ultimately going to cost you. So yeah, I would take it as from this point of view, Stefan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we are not following our agenda here. We also need to speak about iCon.
No
but
problem.
you warned me. You said, bro, if you get me started with SEO, then we have like 10 hours, not enough.
I was going to say, you can talk to me for as long as you want when it comes to SEO. We'll be here till tonight, to be honest. But yeah, glad to work around you on this one.
So, okay, then let's be a bitch for the first question. This is on the agenda. And this is practically the only critic point, the only main critic point people had about the iCon last year.
Yeah.
Even when I'm helping some conferences myself not to organize, but I'm like in their advisor team for small things. I have to say that nobody made it as professional and as a quality that you did. Of course, we have to say that iCon has like, with Charis and so on, there is like an event management company behind it and so on. So, and there's like a big team. So it's maybe not playing in the same league when it comes to the setup. Also, it's in the town, in the island where you live. You don't organize it somewhere else. That would be maybe also more challenging. But there is one main critic point, and this was the majority of the attendees were sponsors. What is very nice for personal feelings because it's like family reunion, but business-wise, that can be maybe cause some problems. The issue is not coming from you direct. It was the hotel. So please tell us a little bit what was happening last year and what we can expect this year.
Yes, 100%. And firstly, thank you for the kind words. It does mean a lot to us as well to hear this from our attendees, and we do focus on the quality of our work. It's a really, really important factor in order to make iCon successful, quality over quantity. And yes, of course, being the first event, the first ever iCon event, we did have some teething issues, and that comes to a variety of factors. But speaking about the venue, even though the venue is one of the most one of the nicest resorts in Cyprus, if you like, it was brand new open. So it had only opened a couple of days before iCon. With that being said, there was a lot of health and safety regulations, a lot of last minute changes from their side, which was also limiting our ability to push forward, to promote it even more, to have capacity of how many people we could bring in, etc. So this was one thing that we found as a teething issues for our first iCon event. And of course, being a brand new name, getting the name out there for people to be convinced to come through was something that we saw. But this is natural, I think, across any affiliate conference, any event. The first one is always difficult to get across the board. However, from our side, what are we doing this year to accommodate for this? Because we take our constructive feedback very seriously. We want to ensure that this is corrected as well as possible moving forward. And one of the feedbacks from our affiliates last year was, for example, the ticket tier. We only had one set of ticket tier, which was not making it so easy for them. So this year we've increased 3 different ticket options, whether it's for affiliates, more premium attendees. This will give the ability for more affiliates to attend the conference. Of course, the venue now doesn't have any limitations or any capacities. So now we have, and of course, iCon is a more known name than last year. So taking all these factors into consideration and seeing how our sales are going so far, yes, we should expect to see a lot of sponsors in the family feel, but definitely a huge increase in affiliates this year. It's been one of our main focus points. Just to add the cherry on the icing as well, iCon was actually the first ever event at the venue. So that was also some teething issues there from their behalf. But I think that if we manage to get through these difficult points, the first ever conference with a venue that was newly open and had a lot of restrictions, we feel really, really confident now that we can bring something even better than last year and make sure that we tick all the boxes of the constructive feedback that we received.
I mean, I was there like 3 months after iCon, or 2 months for the Sigma in Cyprus. And there it was already packed. I guess there was like 4,000 people or something like this.
Yeah, I actually managed to attend it as well, Stefan, in September last year. And yeah, you could see that there was no limitations to the capacities, etc. And of course, by then the venue had enough time to open, kind of establish itself, have a lot more events coming until September, so they can find their feet when it comes to the catering there and how they can serve events. So yeah, obviously so much more has happened at the venue since then. We've been back and forth with them the whole of 2024, ensuring that any issues are well handled beforehand. And yeah, without bringing out too many spoilers, we're quietly confident that it's going to be iCon 2.0 at a whole new level this year.
So, okay, it's good to know already that you are really working and improving on having this amount of attendees that the show actually really deserves to have. Let's speak about the other things that you are doing there beside the attendees and the tickets. What are other things that you integrated to make it a more pleasant experience and even top what you did in 2023?
Of course, I will latch on a little bit to what you said, Stefan, because it kind of coincides with the bigger picture of iCon. Based on the feedback that we had last year in the reaction, with this, and of course now no limitations, we've decided to scale up across the board by about 50%. Whether that's with 50% new speakers, the attendees like you mentioned before, whether this is new areas in the conference which we will have, more booth and more types of sponsorships for more exposure for our exhibitors. So there's going to be really an across the board scaling up. Except from this, the new areas at the conference, which I mentioned, one of them will be the Secret Garden. Again, it's called secret because I can't give out too much about this, but it's a really interesting point that will be covered during the conference. And we're scaling out across the board a lot more, Stefan. Last year, as you saw, it was very much a dating, adult, and payment solutions kind of conference. This year, I would call it more a high restrictions conference because we're bringing in iGaming and gambling, we're bringing in crypto, we're bringing in fan sites involvement. There's going to be so many more verticals and industries that will be involved. We actually have a dedicated day for the fan sites meetup, which will be a workshop pretty much, or a meetup section for all fan sites based topics. The second day of the conference, we are partnering up with White Press, who are some huge SEO players in our realm, and they will be having their White Press workshop on the second day of the conference. And we will be bringing in SEOs across multiple industries again, whether that's dating, adult, gaming, gambling, crypto, CBD, and this will give our audience, whether you're a beginner or a super high level SEO, it will give you something to take home. And this is one thing which we're really focusing on this year. As the head of the speakers, one of my jobs is to make sure that any attendee that comes to our speeches will leave with knowledge and something that they can adopt on their own programs or their own products when they get back home. So this is another thing that we take very, very seriously, the new areas of iCon. Of course, I mentioned the verticals, but except from the affiliate, Stefan, one feedback that really stood with me last year was the transportation. And it's in the city of Limassol in the summertime. We didn't understand how difficult the transportation would be for our attendees, more specifically for taxis, buses, etc. So what we've done this year, we have covered the whole transportation for iCon attendees, whether that's from the airport to the venue, whether that's from the venue to the parties, and vice versa. We have made sure that there is a transportation covered for all of our attendees, so no one is being delayed, no one is stuck in any areas. And this is another point of constructive feedback that I took as seriously as the affiliates as well. So we've ensured that we've hit both of these nails on the head, and this will be something that I'm sure you will also notice when you're there this year. I know you mentioned the food. It's difficult to kind of a lot of good feedback about the food, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a small level up there as well. But of course, I will get your feedback about this once iCon is completed, and I look forward to hearing about that. What else?
So the food was really like, it was not like the typical sponsored food. It would be stupid to go somewhere outside and eat when you have this buffet that was offered there. I want to ask something more about the transport. How is it if you are staying outside, not outside, but in a different hotel in Limassol city center to come in the morning to the conference? How is this arranged?
It's a very good question, and of course it depends on the hotel that you stay at. There is public transportation within Limassol depending on someone's needs, but on our website now we have the ability for people to send us a request and inform us, for example, if they're staying in a specific hotel or they require certain assistance or just specific rides from destination A to destination B, and we'll be glad to handle that demand for them in order for them to feel comfortable. And like I said before, not be delayed for iCon, not be delayed for any of the events pre or pro. So yeah, apart from us providing the transportation, we're also going to be on standby to assist any particular needs that people might have for private rides or additional methods of transport.
When I was on the Sigma show, I had a speech at 2 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock, I still didn't have a taxi for half an hour. So
Yeah.
I got out of my suit, out of my colorful Afpal suit. I went into track pants, shorts, sneakers. I put my suit in the backpack, and I started to walk. And it was a 2-hour walk that I had in the sun. So good that the stage is like 5 meters away from the people. But the moment I stepped out of the house, Georgios Koutsonikos with his E-Class was accepting the ride in 3 minutes. So I just ran back. I went back in the suit and I arrived there in time.
Being able to walk in the Cyprus weather in September, I take hats off to you, to be honest with you. And yeah, like I said, this is something that we've taken very, very seriously for this year, because it doesn't seem like that much of a big deal. But when you're the attendee, or when you're a speaker, or when you're what we call as our iCon attendees, the transportation does play a big role, because something that sounds so small can really have an impact on the rest of your day. So we've really taken extra measures this year to make sure that you won't be calling any taxi firms or having to walk a good distance to get to your destination. So, and again, like I said, our focus is quality over quantity. Over the next years, we've been to conferences across the world, and we've seen gaps of opportunity, or where we could, or where they could have done things better. And we really try to latch onto these and offer our attendees the best experience possible, because the experience is not just iCon, it's from the minute when you land in Cyprus until you're back on the plane to leave Cyprus. So we feel that we want to try and cover a good qualitative experience for our attendees from the minute they land on the island until they're back home.
I'm looking very much forward to it. There is a very high possibility that I will live in Cyprus at this time for a few weeks. So it's maybe like a local gig then for me. You never know with a kid how it is with my schedule, also what other things are maybe coming up.
Well, I'm going to be biased and tell you a nice choice, obviously, because I live here myself. And as a jiu-jitsu pro, yeah, I can say that you've got some colleagues and friends here if you choose to stay here on a longer term. But yeah, for sure, for me, Cyprus is an all-around. We see a huge influx of new companies, of tech companies coming in. We see that it's getting a lot of recognition in the online digital world as well. So I think the back and forth, even Stefan to Cyprus, is going to be beneficial. And you kill two birds with a holiday and work at the same time.
Yeah, I need sometimes this inspiration from a more international tech vibe than where I live now. Here it's good to focus on the business, because it's nothing that distracts me too much. I can take care of my daughter, focus on sport, healthy living. But it's not only about that for I cannot say for a young man, for a man in general. 42, you cannot say for a young man anymore.
You're as old as you feel. That's what I say always, Stefan. You're as old as you feel.
Now that my hernia is healing, it's a bit better, but there was times where I was feeling like I have to order my funeral service already or something like this. Okay, so this is so far so good about the iCon. Please stay tuned, because we have later on also a very nice giveaway that it's provided generously by Alex and his team. So let's speak about dating and SEO, because this is the origin of the conference, and SEO is also your, let's say, your main job, most probably, beside the speaker booking.
Yes.
Word is on the street that dating is going at the moment through some hard times, and that's simply a fact. And what you think are the reasons that dating is now more challenging than, let's say, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, I totally agree with your statement, by the way, Stefan. And I think dating, as time has progressed, it gets harder and harder and harder. So even before the 2 to 3 years, becomes more restricted or there's more limitations put onto the case. In our situation now, we've seen that regulators across the board are starting to tightening the ropes around the dating industry. And in their eyes, is to safeguard the user and what the user sees when they're online. Some examples of this could be, for example, payment limitations. Visa and MasterCard transactions now are getting more limited and more restricted as time's going on. Or it could be to do with other limitations from various government or other authorities who are trying to limit how dating operates online. And other topics like
what are some examples of what limitations and regulations they give us?
It's a very, very good question. So with government limitations on what type of content can be sent out. If I took an example of Dubai, which is one of the most booming areas around, any type of adult content or dating content is not allowed. You cannot access it on your mobile or devices when you're over there. So you can see how easily an authority, an ex-authority, will have an effect on the audience or the market when you're trying to conduct dating business. So trying to target, let's say, the UAE and specifically the Dubai market, very, very difficult because nothing can really get seen on devices. So if we took this across the board with different countries starting to stricten up on how they perceive content from dating, yeah, I would say things are getting harder. One example that I could use for this is the age verification topic. A few years ago, age verification wasn't much in discussion, where now it's becoming a very serious matter in dating and being able to ensure the validity and the verification of your users. So taking all these different examples into consideration, yes, I agree that over the last 2 to 3 years, things are getting harder. And I think in the next 2 to 3 years from today, it's not going to get any easier. It will continue to become more tight and more tight. And then it's our job to kind of work around the best practices. Saying that as well, Stefan, the regulators are trying to do what they can for the user's best interest. I think deep down, as marketeers in the dating industry, we should have that in the back of our mind anyways, which should make our life easier on the long term, kind of looking at the bigger picture of what we need to do, but also taking the overall user into consideration when we conduct our business. So I would say these would be some examples, but mentioning about being in my world, in the SEO world as well, this is also being strongly felt nowadays too. So the SEO world around high restriction industries like dating, adult, and others are also being highly limited through search engines, etc., which, of course, I'm sure we're going to discuss as the time goes on as well.
Okay, what was a very big topic on the last panel that I had to moderate for dating was the effect of fan sites on our business. How you see that affecting us?
Yeah, sure. I think the fan sites trend really started back when the pandemic started, back in 2020. Everyone was at home, so it was kind of the next best alternative for them as they couldn't go out and physically meet people. I don't think that many people expected it to boom as much as it did back in 2020. The most surprising thing for me now, Stefan, is that it's remained static. It's not that the pandemic has died down and the fan sites chart has died down too. The fan sites trend is still there. It's still booming. There's a lot of interest, which naturally it's taken a chunk of the dating users over to that type of product. And again, like we mentioned before with the restrictions, I cannot see the fan sites trend dropping in the next 2 to 3 years. So whether we like it or not, it's automatically taking a chunk of the market. What percentage that is, that would be a good debate. But yeah, sure, it's taken a chunk of your market away from the current products and pushed it into something which has been new the last 4 years.
I mean, we lost even affiliates that are focusing now on fan sites.
Yeah.
And they are not focusing on fan sites and say like, hey, we run fan sites now as an affiliate, because there are already opportunities to run fan sites as an affiliate. You have, for example, Fancentro that has like an official affiliate program. You have like people that are building OnlyFans tracking solutions and so on. But it's not that we lost the people to that solutions. We lost the people, the affiliates, and the other companies lost them as well. They were not like exclusive with Masters in Cash. We lost them because they make their own OnlyFans agency. They know how to run traffic. And they are teaming up with girls. They pay them usually like a fixed fee, and they are making more money, or they enjoy it more, or they think it's more booming. I mean, there are different reasons. Maybe they make even less money, but it's more enjoyable for them. So that's tough, because some of these guys, they were like really big shots, and some traffic is simply not. People are sometimes thinking the traffic is there anyway. No, it's not the case. In a lot of cases, this traffic has to be generated in whatever way, and if they are not generating that, it's simply not there. The easiest example is email clicks or push. If nobody pressed the button to send out push, this traffic is simply not existing.
Exactly that. And again, if I correlate this to the SEO world as well, Stefan, where an SEO 4 or 5 years ago would have said, you know, let's open a tube site, for example, and focus on certain keywords or certain models' names where you can quickly rank into. Well, the reality is now to rank for a model, a known model's name, it's very, very hard in the SEO world, where you can go and try creating a fan site, so a spin-off from a fan site, where you'll focus on the girls' names who are known on OnlyFans alone, much easier to rank for. So why, as an SEO, should I try and drive traffic to a tube site when I can use fan site spaces and push the search intent over to that end? So it's the same reflection, I would say, in SEO, and I totally agree with the statements. It's not like the market share has lost and gone to a different industry. It's just focusing on another point within the same industry across the board.
Yeah. Let's see in which direction this goes, but I have the feeling that in some way it's also merging a little bit. I see, for example, integration of models into dating sites.
Yes, totally.
And this kind of stuff. So the dating industry is always surviving and is always reinventing themselves. And is an evergreen, and it's there to stay. But we all have to adapt. We have to adapt with our products, with our way to communicate with affiliates, to what we provide to affiliates, and so on. And then the strongest will survive, bigger and better than ever. And the ones that are sticking with their usual hot moves in their neighborhood and not working on something new, they are more fucked than the hot moves in their neighborhood.
Totally agree with you on that statement. And I think the main keyword you used there was adapting. Whether the fan sites would have been here or not, the dating world, it's constantly changing, and you need to adapt to the changes. If you don't adapt to the changes and you stay onto your what used to work 10 years ago, or which slogans used to work for you, yes, of course, it's not a long-term recipe for success. So the adaptation should be done constantly, and disregarding what product it is in the dating world, the adaptation is key. So I totally agree on that keyword with you too.
So, okay, dating still exists and will exist, and we have to put effort in SEO. That is your job. Time for me to learn something. The newest Google update.
Yeah.
What are the effects from this Google update on pages, on dating sites?
Really interesting question, and actually a topic that has been going on for the past month. The Google update, which me and my team are calling the Armageddon update, has just finished rolling out. I can say the strongest update that I've seen, and I mean strongest with regards to how Google has handled sites. So many sites that I saw have had drops of up to 95% in organic traffic. For example, a client going from 200,000 impressions per day down to 4,000 per day, and that happened overnight. And many sites being de-indexed. So where they've been in a really good rank for years, suddenly all your traffic is gone and you're not in the Google search engine anymore. So what has the Google core update of March focused on? And of course, the big topic over the past 6 months to a year has been AI. Unfortunately, like most people do, we went too far with AI. And I'll give you a very easy example with this as far as the SEO goes. Some webmaster who was posting 1 publication per week is suddenly now posting 100 publications per week. Google is not stupid. Google knows that we do not have the financial capacity to go from 1 publication to 100 overnight. So that was one indicator for them that people are using information just to manipulate search engines, and instantly a lot of people got labeled. This is just one small example. So I would class this on a bigger scale, Stefan, of people using AI with no human effort or no expertise or experience behind that. For example, I'm starting talking about a specific project now in chemistry. I know nothing about chemistry, but ChatGPT knows a lot about chemistry. So I start to create my content because I do good keyword research and I pump 100 publications onto my site. The question is, how accurate is that content? How accurate is it to me and you? It might sound fantastic. How is it to Google or to a real expert in the zone or someone who really is looking down to that topic? So I would say the EEAT, the expertise and the experience behind content is huge. And because people have resorted to the easy way of ChatGPT, thinking that this is what's going to scale me up, this is what's going to make me look like an expert, unfortunately, it had an adverse effect. So I saw a lot of people's charts increasing in organic traffic, and as soon as the update hit, it was a total vertical from then on. But the AI content is only one small point of this. If I took example, spammy links would be the second point. So many people were, especially in the dating and other high restricted worlds, they're collecting multiple backlinks and multiple referring domains without considering too much the relevancy, for example, between them or the traffic from that site, etc. So what Google is doing now, Google is coming in and saying to you, okay, you have picked up you're a dating website and you've picked up a backlink from a barbecue website. What's the relation? How did they manage to link to you when there's no connection at all? So what they've done automatically, they skim through the backlink profile, and if the majority of it is irrelevant, let's not talk about the DRs, let's not talk about the traffic, the outgoing referring domains, just the relevancy. It's very, very clear to Google to see who is manipulating the system. So they decided to come through hard. They hit very, very hard a lot of sites, and this is through multiple industries. Also talking about this, there's going to be another rollout, Stefan, on the 2nd of May. And any people who focus on parasite SEO, and I put this in very, very short terms, parasite SEO is me going onto Reddit, you putting backlinks on Reddit, linking it back to my site. So using established brand names to power up my own website. People who have been doing
where is the limit between like being a parasite and being like really using backlinks? For example, at Afpal, I don't have too many backlinks. I'm featured now maybe on like 20, 30 pages that are really relevant. But practically every week I have something on LinkedIn, or this I think also some kind of parasite, and on Google. So it's practically these two, and Facebook as well, that have regularly pages. And for example, Alex, the content gentleman that is here with me, he will start to put the videos on Dailymotion and this kind of stuff, and also on Reddit. It will be like, let's say, one link per week, but it's always the same stuff. Will that be harm me more than it does well?
I would say no, because you mentioned two very strong points there for me. One is the frequency. So the frequency of how often do I post? So have I gone from posting one publication a week to suddenly doing 15, 20 per week, which starts to seem a little bit strange as to why you're doing the post? Is it to draw power from that site, or is it genuinely to educate your users? In my eyes, once you've received one link, one referring domain onto your website, you don't really need to chase it so much more, because one backlink or a million backlinks at the end of the day is coming from one referring domain. So the objective here is not to try and milk one specific brand name over and over and over again. The point is to be able to address your product correctly. And what I always say to my clients or people that ask me about this, I say, think how Google thinks. So let's say I'm Google now, and I can see Stefan once a week, he goes onto his LinkedIn, he makes a relevant post to what he talks about, he links them back correctly back to the product he wants to see, the anchors are all matching correctly. I don't see that as parasite SEO. But if Stefan now goes onto Reddit and starts posting on totally irrelevant subreddits, spamming, not posting on a frequency, spamming as much as possible, then going onto LinkedIn and Facebook and doing the same, it's very, very natural to someone's eyes to see their intentions. So Google, of course, with all the algorithms and the technology and the staff they have, it's very easy to understand when someone is backlinking for parasite and when someone is backlinking for genuine purpose. In your case, Stefan, rest assured, I don't think you're doing anything that will be classed as parasite SEO. Parasite SEO is used a lot on press releases as well. So trying to take big news names to do this. And it's usually done with shady tactics, and there's nothing wrong with white, black, or gray hat. But I would say, yes, based on the example that you used, it's a safe process. And I would say really think about it just from a common sense point of view. Am I trying too hard? Am I going overboard? If I know deep down that I am, then start considering yourself that you're pushing to becoming a parasite SEO. Keep it natural and you'll be fine.
So for example, when my colleague will start to upload the videos on all these pages, it would be stupid to say like on one day he uploads on all the video sites the content, and on all the videos he makes one backlink. Then they will see like, hey, here's from Dailymotion now 50 backlinks. Here's from my video 50 backlinks. They all come in one day. So there is something not natural. So we register it. Here and there he uploads the content, he makes a backlink, sometimes he just leaves it, and then we will see.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the natural proceedings of a backlink, the natural proceedings now is someone will give you a link based on the value that you're providing to their website or their audiences. So if I write a very good content about podcasts, you might go and write on your website, hey, check out this article about Alex telling you how to improve your podcast. So you're doing that because you're giving them my lead because of the value that I'm giving your users effectively. So there is a two-way street. When it comes to user-generated content, this is what it is, going onto Facebook or Reddit. I'm a user on their platform posting about my own link. So usually Google can understand this as labeled as user-generated content, UGC as we would say. So again, I would say they take it with a pinch of salt, but the most important thing is the objective, Stefan. Not to use the whole tactic of parasite just to get established brands on my backlink profile to show Google that I'm a known name. It's defeating the objective a little bit. And I think the whole conversation with AI in general, everyone is trying to find the quick and easy way out. But we both know in life, everything that is worth or is rewarding in life takes effort, takes time, takes sacrifice. And it's the same now in these situations. If you're doing it for the best interest of your product, naturally and correctly, Google will not penalize you for natural proceedings. If you try to spam the hell out of a site or try to claim their credibility on your back for no justification, then yeah, I don't know when the Google police will come knocking on the door.
Okay. This is how AI had maybe a negative effect on your ranking or your SEO work. Let's speak about the positive effect of AI has on your SEO work, especially in our industry.
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. And one of the points that I wanted to talk during this podcast was, how am I using AI? How? In which ways? And depending on how I use it, it will result to it being good or bad. And I'll use two sides of the fence as examples now, Stefan. Let's take the one example of the bad side of AI, thinking that AI is going to solve my mysteries overnight. Let's say I go to the gym and the AI is my protein powder. And I walk into the gym every day, I take my protein shot, but I don't use the weights. But I expect to look like Arnie by the end of year one, right? It's never going to happen because you're not putting the hard work and the effort behind the protein powder, which is a supplement to your hard work, correct? The same exact thing in my SEO realm. If I'm going to start copy pasting content from ChatGPT and other AI tools and just posting it onto my website, this is the easy way out and most likely to get you penalized and in trouble with search engines. Now let's look on the other side of the fence. How can I be in 2024 a marketeer, an online marketeer, and not use AI for my assistance? Because at the end of the day, AI is a tool. And now I'll use this example as a farmer. How can I be a farmer in 2024 and try to plow my land with a shovel when I've got a tractor sitting there or a combine harvester? So the question is then, how do I use this AI? When does it become good or bad in my eyes? And the way it becomes good or bad in my eyes is the purpose of it. So let's take an example. Me and my content team, we want to use AI to create publications. Is the question then to go and put a prompt into the AI and copy paste that content onto my website? Or is it to use it as a helpful supporting tool for me? For example, create me a topical map on this specific topic. I will then take that topical map, verify it, start to create clusters, content which is done by humans, and then publish. So I have used AI to speed up some processes safely, correctly, and obviously cost cutting as well at the same time. So asking a lot of people whether it's a good or a bad thing, I really believe it comes down to how you choose to use it in your industry. And I think the example of the content now is great. And I can also give you a very bad example, which you mentioned Google Translate before, but I'll take this on a ChatGPT standpoint. One of my clients was super successful in the payment solutions world. He had his own website in English. It's scaling up so well. It was unbelievable to watch how positively his numbers were. And he admitted to me one day, he said to me, Alex, I got greedy and I decided to use ChatGPT to translate all of my English content into multiple languages, and I published all the pages. Within 1 month of doing that, Google hit him with a penalty, and all his rankings went to less than half. Why? Because when you took, let's say, in your language, German, Stefan, if you would have read it, which some of my German colleagues did, they said the content was a 5 out of 10. The same in Greek, which we can read natively as well. So relying on AI to translate for you without nobody checking that content. Another example could be support tickets. I know people who have used AI bots to answer support tickets of their users. How can you trust the AI bot to answer a payment-related query from a frustrated user where you need to have emotion, kind of passion, understanding, empathy, all these feelings that AI cannot provide nowadays? So for sure, the human aspect is still super strong. Some examples I just gave you, which I could continue with link building and other efforts. But I think it's, like I said, the core of this is, how do I use my AI? Am I using it to do my job for me, or am I using it to support with my work? I think this is the key.
I got recently I got a message on my Facebook where I posted some jobs. I have this little HR agency, and the guy said like, "What? Affiliate managers? You are looking for affiliate managers? My AI can do all that." So first, I think it's impossible from current technical standpoint to make like affiliate management with AI. There are for sure some ideas, maybe some is existing, some not. So let's say an AI would communicate with the affiliate over an email or a chat tool and says like, "Hey, your performance went down here and there. Why you don't shift to this landing pages," or something like this. But the personal factor is so important. So I told the guy, "Hey, if you have the solution, I have for you like 20, 50 clients." And he said, "Okay, give me your phone number and I will convince you." I wait since 1 week because it's bullshit. The guy was just big mouthing there. Maybe in 1 year there will be something, but he puts it in a way that you don't even need a human anymore.
Yeah.
I would be happy if he just has a tool to make the work for affiliate managers easier.
I totally agree with you. And again, when you look at your affiliate partnerships that you have, Stefan, as well, in your day-to-day business, there's going to be times where you have your good days, and on the other side of the fence, and the bad days. And on the bad days, sometimes you just feel like you want to speak to someone, you want them to hear you out and understand how they're feeling and why. A bot can't understand that. A bot will sit and listen to you. It will not understand the empathy. It will not understand the passion or the frustration in your tone of your voice. So humans at the moment, AI is nowhere near reaching these elements. And yes, in the future, I agree at some point it's going to catch up. It's a matter of time. But today's day and age, I think the human effort, and this is relating back to the big core update of the big March core update from Google, without the human effort, you're not able to really transition or give out the right message.
There is now a tool on the market. I have to investigate it a little bit more for affiliate managers or for affiliate programs where practically all the data is outsourced into a chatbot. So instead of going into your program and search for everything, you just say like, "Hey, give me all affiliates that are performing less in this and this markets compared to 3 weeks ago." So I have to check that. I think that's already like a very helpful tool, because analyzing it's such an annoying task, and the interfaces are not often the most user-friendly ones.
Yeah.
So that could be like a really interesting way of working together with AI.
I totally agree. I take it in the case of, let's say, some social media ads, or let's say a quick one-liner that you want to use. Maybe you're having brain fog, or maybe, you know, you're tired and you can't be as creative as you would like to be. AI tools are great to give you kind of idea generations, but like I said before, not to do the full job for you. So yeah, use it in the right ways, and I think AI could be a really, really great tool for you.
So I have the last question on the agenda, and of course we finish it with AI. Beside the help you get from AI for SEO reasons, how you can use AI in the dating industry additionally?
Yeah. Again, the same with SEO. I feel like AI is also changing the dating industry quite dramatically as well. Nowadays, you can use AI for a variety of reasons, whether that's creating images for certain profiles or creating your own girlfriend to your specifications for chatting. This is stuff that you couldn't do a few years ago without AI, or even more on a broader level, if I want to start a marketing campaign, an AI tool can be a very good helping hand or a good support or direction as to how I proceed with my marketing campaigns. So all these things I feel like are having, and will continue to have effects in the dating industry. I could also use moderation as an example when it comes to this. So, for example, using AI to identify underage users. This would be a helpful hand for the dating industry, cost cutting as well, and in the near future, as accurate as it possibly could be. Or looking at the more ethical and moral sides of things, using AI to review chats for any discriminated content like hate speeches or racist comments and stuff like this. So yeah, I think it's changing it. I think it's giving more options and more versatility. But again, I'm going to answer in the same way as the SEO, Stefan. It really depends on how much reliance and in which way you're using this tool to maximize your benefits. And at the end of the day, everyone has ability to AI. Everyone can use it. And like I said, I think everyone's looking for the quickest way that AI can assist them to get the job done. But I think if you have a little bit of patience, you use AI and you think outside of the box, you can really stand out from the rest of the crowd and proceed. So I think the AI is going to continue changing the dating industry. And actually, I think AI is going to change many industries as we go along. The examples I gave before from different aspects, looking at it from a really micro view or really macro view. And yeah, I think embracing it is correct, but just monitoring and seeing how I can use it to the best of my abilities without screwing over my own company, my user, or whichever other path you're taking it.
Interesting times ahead here, huh?
You can say that again for sure. We've got we mentioned the last 2 to 3 years, but I think the next 2 to 3 years coming up is going to be super interesting.
So actually, the end is not even a question. The end is the so-called golden nugget. And the golden nugget is the best advice you can give out that we have not heard 100 times, because I had to add this, not what we have heard 100 times, because everybody says, like, oh, you have to network.
Well, the one that I can use, Stefan, which has kind of been one of the core of our topics, and I'm going to actually take it the other way around, because 100 people will come and tell you, use AI to make £1 million in a month and stuff like this. Misconception of AI is real. The misconception of AI is real. You see these influencers and you see these advertisers telling you you're going to make all this money very, very quickly. It only works to a certain point. The reality is that nothing in life comes easily. Like we spoke during the podcast now, Stefan. And like I said, if I use the example of going to the gym earlier, I could start tomorrow and start taking my protein powder and never be willing to use the machines and the weights, sweat down myself to really get the results I want to see. So yeah, I would say that the misconception of AI is real. Don't believe everything you see. And really, instead of considering it to do your job for you, let it be your helping hand, or let it be your supporting hand in order for you to stand out from the rest of the crowd instead of putting your sole reliance into that. I hope I didn't kill off all these marketing pitches about AI being your lifesaver. But I think the real point here is to embrace AI correctly. And if you do it in the right manner, you're definitely going to reap the right benefits as well.
Fantastic. That was more than an hour. Actually, what I expected, I was sure this will not a 20 minutes talk. Alex, besides the great informations that you are providing, I also have to thank you, because we have a giveaway from a ticket for the conference. We will publish this video. Yeah, okay, when you see it, it's already published. But I will put it right the moment we stop it. We have Friday, to my colleague that is sitting here eagerly to edit it. And then we can also push out the video. So Alex, thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the best first with your rankings, that they stay stable.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best with organizing iCon 2 and up to iCon 30, or whenever how many you have there in place. And of course, also thank you to Masters in Cash for sponsoring that, getting me a microphone and all this stuff. So looking forward to see you latest in 2 months, not even. And thank you for your time.
Indeed, Stefan, thank you so much as well. It's always a pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for having me on the Masters in Cash podcast. And look forward to seeing you in person very, very soon. And we can talk a lot more into detail and celebrate whilst we're at it as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Have a good day. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye-bye.